Welcome to the January 31st, 2024 Charter Chat. Hope everyone had a fantastic break and got some rest. Next slide, please. I want to start this meeting off with a disclaimer that the information contained in this presentation is provided as a reference only, and charter schools and chartering authorities are encouraged to review the laws and regulations and consult with their own legal counsel regarding the application to their specific situations. Next slide, please. So before we begin, I just want to remind everyone, if you haven't done so, please mute yourself. And also a reminder that you may put questions into the chat. We will take the time as we go along to answer questions. We have quite a bit of information for you today, so we may not spend a whole lot of time answering questions. We might have to put some of the answers into our resource page, but we will try to get to questions as we go along. The session, as you likely heard, is being recorded in the main room only. The breakout sessions will not be recorded. Today, we'll start off with a few introductions. I want to remind you what's in the parking lot. We'll review questions from the field and questions from the December Charter Chat. We will provide some legislative and State Board of Education updates. We'll share some hot topics on the California School Dashboard, the LCAP mid-year report, the SARC. We also have a special guest, or several special guests actually. Anissa Sonnenberg from the California Department of Education is going to be here to talk about differentiated assistance. And we also have Mara Wold and friends here to discuss the Extended Learning Opportunity Program. And then there will be some fiscal updates. And then we'll go into breakout rooms. All right, next slide, please. So just as a reminder, and for the new folks, CASI is an initiative that is funded by a grant to the California Department of Education and the Santa Clara County Office of Education, and CCAP, the California Charter Authorizing Professionals, were our subgrantees who are executing the grant. And so the folks from Santa Clara County Office of Education include myself, Mifula Fairley, Director of the Charter Schools Department, Dr. Michelle Johnson, Matt Doherty, Shalu Sharma, and Cynthia Tapia. Next slide, please. And then from the California Charter Authorizing Professionals, we have Executive Director Tom Hutton, Board President David Patterson, and I'm not sure if Debbie Deal is here today, but she is a frequent contributor to this meeting. Next slide. So on the parking lot, we place all of the issues and topics that you bring up and we don't have an immediate answer for. So these are some of the things we're still working on. You'll notice that differentiated assistance is crossed off because we will be getting some information today on differentiated assistance. Next slide, please. Okay. So in January, January 23rd, we held our quarterly regional training on charter school facilities. It was presented by Brianna Garcia from School Services of California and Kelly Craig Arnold from Oakland Unified School District. Thank you to both of them for doing such an excellent job. I actually wasn't there, but I heard it was great, and I can't wait to see the video and the resource page, which will be available soon on the CASI web page at the CASI website, on the CDE website. Next, and you can also get it from this link that's on that slide. Okay, so previous Charter Chat questions that we have been able to find an answer to are here, and I believe Dave, are you here? Dave is going to take over. Dave is not here.
It doesn't look like we have Dave. You guys want to jump on while I give him a quick text? I know he's got grandkids.
Michelle, do you want to get us started?
Absolutely. So the first question was, when is the charter school performance category data file going to be released? CDE intends to release that file, including performance categories as determined by the criterion AB 1505 prior to July 2024.
Okay.
So what are the best practices for audit extension requests? Authorizers may ask a charter school for a letter explaining the rationale for the extension request. Additionally, an authorizer may ask for a board resolution or board meeting minutes documenting that the audit extension was approved by the charter school's governing board. Is a list of charters eligible for DA or differentiated assistance available? The 2023 Local Control Funding Formula Charter School Assistant Status Spreadsheet is available at the CDE LCFF. And how does eligibility for DA impact charter renewal? Pursuant to Education Code 47607C2, notwithstanding subparagraphs A and B, a charter school eligible for technical assistance pursuant to section 47607(3) shall not qualify for renewal under this paragraph. A charter school eligible for DA shall not qualify for the high performance category renewal term of 5 to 7 years, but that does not mean that they're not eligible for renewal. So for additional information related to differentiated assistance, we'll be joined by colleagues from the CDE later today. And all of this information is available on our resource page. Next slide.
Okay. Thank you. So I want to just take a moment to let you know that the link to our folder with the presentation is in the chat. So if you'd like to see the presentation, you can use the link in the chat. And then there were a couple of questions. One is related to the DA spreadsheet and wanting to know if we have a direct link, which I believe someone dropped into the chat. And so if you want to just grab that DA list from the chat, you can do that. So on this page, we're asking you to rename yourself. So you can see here an example on the slide. I'm Mifala Fairley, so there's my name, and then followed by my organization. And if you look in my little Zoom box, Zoom square, you can see that I've renamed myself as Mifala Fairley, Santa Clara County Office of Education. So I would love for all of you to rename yourself with your first and last name, and then just the name of your organization. In the past, we've asked you to put a number. We're not doing that anymore. We just need your name and your organization to ensure that we get you to the right breakout room when we get to that point. Next slide, please. Legislative updates, Michelle.
All right, so the legislature is back in session as of January 3rd. This is the second year of a two-year legislative cycle. Bills that stalled in the first year will have an opportunity to continue on the process. Legislators have until February 16th to introduce any new bills to the process. And if you're interested in tracking any of the bills yourself, you can go to the Leg Info page, and the link is on the resource page. Next slide, please. And although there were lots of new laws that took effect as of January 1st, 2024, which apply to charter schools, here are a few that you might want to be aware of. So there's cursive instruction, childhood sexual assault, the statute of limitations has been extended, open meetings for local agencies with regards to the Brown Act and teleconferencing, pupil meals, and increasing the paid sick days. So please go and check out the resource page and click on all the links to get to the actual legislation. Next slide, please. The State Board of Education held the advisory committee on charter schools held their meeting on December 5th. A funding determination was considered The state board then held its meeting on January 18th, and it considered the funding determination, and the charter school number was considered. The next ACCS meeting, which is for February, was canceled. So its next meeting won't occur until April 9th. And the next state board meeting is scheduled for March 6th and 7th. Next slide, please. So now is your chance to help us help you. We're going to take 2 minutes right now and have everyone go and click on the link so that we can get our annual survey done. We really appreciate all the feedback. As we said, this is our annual survey. We will also be sending this out to everyone via email, and it will be on the CASI website. CCAP will be sending out alerts as well, but we figured giving everyone about 2 minutes at this moment to at least get it started would help us get things moving. So I will be quiet for 2 minutes.
So I see a lot of people intently staring at screens. I hope that means that you're helping us out by filling out our annual survey, which helps us with our grant and also with knowing how to support you as we move forward. I am going to continue on with all the information that we have for you today, because there is a lot, and I'm a little concerned that if we take more time, we won't finish. But please, if you haven't finished the survey, kind of set it to the side and take a few minutes after we're done here to finish up. So we're gonna, next slide, next slide, please, move on to the part of our agenda, hot topics, where we share with you news that you can use right now. So first, we're gonna have Matt up talking about California School Dashboard, etc.
Thanks. Yeah, on December 15th, the California School Dashboard was released. So not just the pretty front end of it, but the data files were also released at the same time. So if you're like me and you like to stack all your dashboard data together so you can do some comparisons, those are also available. So you don't just have to go to the site and collect it one at a time. The colors are back this year, not just the cell phone bars any longer. So again, from a data perspective, this means they've added that color column back in. So just be careful if you're doing a historical data file. Schools were notified if they were eligible for differentiated assistance based on their dashboard results. And as a reminder, charters are now eligible for DA. We'll have more on that later. Moving on to the LCAP mid-year update. We've talked about this before, so this is just a reminder. All charter schools, school districts, and county offices of education are now required to present a report on the annual update to the LCAP and the LCFF budget overview for parents on or before February 28th of each year at a regularly scheduled meeting of their governing board or body of the LEA. The mid-year report must include all of the available mid-year outcome data related to those metrics that were identified in the current year's LCAP, and all available mid-year expenditure and implementation data on all of the actions identified in the current year's LCAP. And this is all per Education Code section 47606.5, 52062, and 52068. And then as a final reminder, so check on that on the charters that you authorize, that they get their mid-year LCAP done before February, on or before February 28th. Similarly, your charters need to have their SARCs completed by February 1st, which is tomorrow. So that's it for the hot topics. I will pass it over to Anissa Sonnenberg from the CDE to talk about differentiated assistance.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces and names, and actually a lot of new ones as well. My name is Anissa Sonnenberg. I'm the Education Administrator of the System of Support Office at CDE. And along with my role of helping coordinate the statewide system of support with our other state agencies, I also provide differentiated assistance to county offices with a team of folks from CDE, but we also help with the administration and management of our differentiated assistance with our county offices that are actually the providers. So I was asked specifically to give a short presentation today, really about who will be providing differentiated assistance, but I thought we would start off first just for those folks that maybe are not familiar with DA, just kind of doing a brief overview before I go into the slides around who provides the differentiated assistance to our charters. All right, you can go ahead and get to the next slide. Okay, so first of all, what is differentiated assistance? For those that do not know, as part of our system of support, we have 3 levels of support kind of built along the MTSS framework, of 1 being universal, 2 being targeted, and 3 being an intensive. So differentiated assistance is level 2, targeted technical assistance. It falls under our LCFF legislation and is part of our accountability system to ensure that assistance and support is provided to our LEAs, basically so that we can increase our student outcomes. I think it's really important to know that differentiated assistance is not a status or a label. It's not like program improvement back in the NCLB days, but it's really about having some continuous improvement efforts overall for our students and to be able to provide our LEAs the support that they need. If you were wondering where exactly in Ed Code this falls, specifically for charter schools, you would find the legislation under Education Code 47607.3. You can go to the next slide, please. So overall, I kind of mentioned this, our goal of differentiated assistance is to really make sure that we're building the capacity of our LEAs so that we can ensure that the outcomes and the success for the students is there for them. It is also based on our dashboard data tied directly to our state and local indicators, and then broken down into our subgroups. So we just want to make sure that overall it's just about support. You can go to the next slide. So next, we had some people ask about the LCFF assistance file. I think both Allison and myself put that link in there. And so that will basically tell you who is eligible for differentiated assistance based on the 2023 dashboard. But there are certain performance criteria that is set forth by the State Board of Education. And in a nutshell, LEAs with at least 1 student group meeting the criteria in at least 2 of the priority areas are eligible for DA. And so in the next couple slides, I can break that down for you. You can go to the next slide. So some of you may have seen this before. These are broken down into the 10 priority areas. For charter schools, that is only priorities 1 through 8. Priorities 9 and 10 are for our county offices only. So we have both our local and state indicators, and I won't read this completely off to you, but if you want to know exactly what one of the local indicators are, those are those that you see there that say not met for 2 or more years on local performance. And then our state indicators would be those such as pupil achievement, where there's a little bit more there about the colors and what the indicator would mean. So some of our most maybe known ones are pupil achievement, which are ELA and math. We also have the ELPI, those fall under pupil achievement. And then of course we have things like school climate and also our broad course of study. Can you go to the next slide? So for charter school eligibility for DA, with the release of the 2023 dashboard, charter schools are again, they're again eligible for DA. The last time charter schools were eligible was back in 2019. In the old legislation, the authorizer would be the provider for the DA, but this year the list had changed a little bit, which is what I'm going to go over the rest of my presentation today. Charter schools are a little bit different than our COEs and our districts, where we used the criteria for 2 or more years, and it's not an annual data that we use. And then we have it broken down to as far as the methods. So one way that a charter school can become eligible is if they have one or more student groups meeting the criteria for our state indicators only. A method 2 would be if it's local indicators only. And then we have method 3, which could be a combination of both local and state indicators. So here comes the answers to those questions that we received around who exactly provides differentiated assistance for charter schools. So if you could go to the next slide. All right. So this is the bulk of our charter schools that are that fall under differentiator assistance. And this is when the authorizer is an actual school district. So when an authorizer is a school district, the county office of education for which the charter school is located is the provider of the differentiated assistance. So for the majority of our charter schools, they fall under this category. The Ed Code also allows for them to perhaps work with their county office of education to select another provider if it seems that that is a better fit. And there in bold, we have listed who another authorized provider could be. And that could be another school district, another county office of education, or a charter school. However, if another provider is selected, the actual provider, which is the county office, still needs to stay engaged. They're required to monitor the DA progress along with anybody that's providing the DA. And then we have authorizers that are actual county offices of education. So if you go to the next slide, that breaks it down for us. So when the authorizer for the charter school that is eligible for DA is the actual county office of education, the default provider is the geographic lead that county is under. So we have, I believe, only 11 this year that fell under that category. So we, out of the 198 charter schools that are eligible for DA this year, only 11 of them fell under this category. And just like with our districts, if they want to work with their county office to meet, or their geo lead to select another provider, it's the same list who may be considered to also be a provider. And then also the geographic lead as the main provider needs to make sure they're monitoring the DA progress. Next slide. Then there are some instances where the county office of education that serves as the geographic lead is also a county office of education. So when that happens, the county office that is also the geographic lead can select another geographic lead to provide the DA, or they also have that list of other providers that can provide it. And next. And then we have 2 actually that fell in this category this year of State Board of Education charter schools that are eligible for DA. So for those 2 charter schools, the county office in which the charter school is located will provide the differentiated assistance. And just like the others, through consultation, they may select another provider, which are listed there. And then that county office remains engaged as monitoring the progress. So there are a lot of questions that have been answered over the asked and answered over the last few months. And there are FAQs. So if you go to the next slide. And I'm going to put the link to the FAQs. So there's also some fiscal questions. So if you had some questions about fiscal and how that all works for the support, those are all there. And that kind of gives you directions on how to kind of navigate through the FAQs. I do see a question someone asked where you can, thank you, Allison. Allison put in the chat the link to the folders where you can find my slides. Next one. So if you have any questions, the best way to get answers to your questions around differentiated assistance is to email our System of Support office at casystemaofsupport@cde.ca.gov.
Thank you so much, Anissa. I
Mhm.
don't see any questions for you, so we're going to move on. But again, thank you for taking the time to come in and talk to us.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Sure thing. Next on the agenda, next page is Shalu Sharma and Cynthia Tapia on the fiscal oversight of charter schools.
Thank you, Misa. So for today's hot topics, we want to begin with a very brief overview of the governor's proposed budget. The governor's budget measures about a $37.9 billion budget shortfall, but the proposal protects the education programs for the most part and does not predict or project any deferrals or cuts at this current time. However, it is worth noting this is a preliminary budget that will go through many discussions until the budget is finalized in June. We will just have to wait for more details as part of the May revise, but in the meantime, we wanted to highlight a few key areas that may be of interest to charter schools as they are developing their first version of their 24-25 budgets. And that is beginning with the cost of living adjustment, or COLA. For fiscal year 24-25, it is proposed at 0.76%, which is significantly less than the 8.22 from this fiscal year. And even though the COLA is small, the proposal does include the 0.76 to be applied not only for LCFF, but a few other state categorical programs such as Equity Multiplier, Child Nutrition, Mandate Block Grant, and Special Education. The governor overall continues his commitment to maintain educational programs, including the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, which you'll hear about a little bit later, and the Universal TK, Universal Meals, and of course, Special Education. And now Shalu with a little bit more details.
Thank you, Cynthia. So unlike fiscal year 23-24, there is no proposed cut to the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant. However, please note the LR grant is not going to be receiving the statutory COLA, and the governor proposes to narrow the use of the remaining fund to focus on students who are most impacted by their learning loss. And most hot topic for charter school, the Charter Schools Facility Grant Program. The governor proposes to eliminate any additional allocation of funds for reimbursement to other costs. And he thinks it's only one time. It was only one time, that 30 million that he allocated. Last but not the least, the ERAF, which is the Educational Revenue Augmentation Fund. The charter schools, the governor proposal includes a language to clarify that charter schools are eligible for ERAF. However, the statutory change may result in shift of funding and not additional funding for the charter schools. Now I'll pass it on to Mara and her team for additional details on ELO-P program.
Thanks, Shalu. Hello, everybody. It's really nice to see all of you here. And on behalf of my colleague, Gloria Halley in Region 2, who is not able to join us today, and Michelle Perno, who I believe is on the call from Region 11, we just want to say thank you for the opportunity to present a little bit more on the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, given the fact that it is an audit year. Next slide, Justin. Just want you all to be aware that we are a part of the System of Support for Expanded Learning, otherwise known as SSEL. The California Department of Education has 11 regions. There are 16 County Office of Education leads who provide technical assistance to LEAs. That includes school districts and charters, as well as, of course, chief business officials, city counties, and other community-based organizations, subcontracted partners. So I am the lead. Monterey County Office of Ed is the lead for Region 5. You can see there that LACO, LA County, is the lead for the very large LA region. And our colleague up in Region 2, Butte County Office of Ed, is an example of a lead LEA for the 9 counties that represent Region 2. Next slide, please. We do have a list, by the way, at the end of our slide deck that will give you a list of all of your local contacts, and we really encourage you to reach out to all of us in support of your expanded learning opportunities grants that you may receive. And I want to just briefly start with our vision. The California Department of Education Expanded Learning Division has a vision for expanded learning, which includes after school, before school, summer and intercession programs, and really that we are an integral part of young people's education. And we engage them in year-round opportunities that really prepare our students TK through 12th grade. With ELOP funding, it's TK through 6th grade. We want to prepare all students for college, career, and life. And this is really important, and it's very different than being an extension of the school day. And I really want to make that distinction that there is a difference between extended day and expanded learning. So expanded learning is about incorporating lots of enrichment. Our intention is not to be the child's first teacher, but to help supplement core day instruction through various opportunities that may expand child's horizons. So we, with ELOP, have a $4 billion investment, and you just heard that the governor has proposed to maintain that level of investment. And this program was actually started in 2021-22, so we're now in our 3rd year of funding for this particular program. And the funding is an apportionment, and it is based on the unduplicated pupil percentage that you have within your school. And you're funded either at a tier 1 or a tier 2 apportionment, and it's based on this percentage. So if you are above 75% UPP, you are receiving $2,750 per pupil. If you are below 75%, you're receiving $1,802 and some change. Now, it is important to note that the tier 2 apportionment can be adjusted per fiscal year. But again, this is based on your unduplicated pupils, and that means the numbers of English language learners you have, those eligible for free reduced price meal, our foster youth, as well as students experiencing homeless. Key pieces here is that you must offer and provide access. So that is 180 days, a 9-hour-a-day program. That does include instructional minutes, plus 30 additional non-instructional days. So that's where we get into summer and intercession. Even Saturdays are allowable. And during this audit year, it's going to be very important to pay attention to making sure that offer and access requirement is met. Transportation is also a requirement if you are operating an expanded learning opportunity program at a site other than homeschool. There is no opt-out option here, so that's also important to note. Penalties would not exceed what has been allocated to a particular LEA, but it is important to note that we want to do our due diligence to provide these opportunities for our young people. So next slide, please, Justin. Just wanted to give you a rundown too of program requirements. We do have to have an educational support component, which includes homework assistance, tutoring support in core subject areas. The educational enrichment component is content-aligned experiential learning. This is where we can really get creative and innovative in support of our core day teachers and provide really enriching opportunities. A snack and meal, this is where we encourage nutrition, healthy habits, physical activity. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the day and hour requirement of 180 days and a 9-hour day plus the 30 additional non-instructional is also important. This again is a TK through 6th grade program. ELOP is TK through 6. Some of you may have support from our other sources like ACES and 21st Century, which is the traditional funding for expanded learning. And those other programs will run a TK through, for ACES, it's TK through 9th grade if you have 9th grade as part of a junior high, and then 21st Century is TK through 12th. But the auditors during this audit year are going to be looking at, did you offer and provide access to TK through 6th grade pupils? So that's an important distinction to make. And I know Michelle, my colleague, is putting in some resources for you into the chat. We're certainly available during the breakout sessions to answer any additional questions you have. And Justin, if you go to the next slide, we wanted to just highlight that we have a lot of resources here provided to you if you have additional questions. The first one probably being the most important, and that is to link to your local SSEL COE contact. And that's the first link available on the slide deck. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mara and Michelle. We look forward to seeing you in the breakout rooms so that folks who have questions can get those questions answered from you. All right, so next slide, please. We are going to be moving into breakout rooms, and in the Northern Authorizers room, we will have Janice Lorenzo facilitating Northern Authorizers. Central Authorizers will be facilitated by Jason Murphy. Southern Authorizers by Deidre Walsh, and our non-authorizing partners will be facilitated by Kathy Doherty. And I see that the link for the Jamboard is there. So if you are a room facilitator, please grab the Jamboard now. And team, did I forget anything, or are we ready to go? Okay, I think we're ready to go, Amy, thanks. Okay, so it looks like most folks are back. I'd love to just hear like a 20-second report out from each group. Let's start with the Northern group. Janice?
Yep, it's Janice from up here in Humboldt, and it was we were far north. Nathan and I were here from Shasta and Humboldt, and there was a lot of mid area people down in Oakland and various other parts of our state. And we had a good conversation around authorizing and renewal. And so what are we doing to gear up for the new renewal cycle? And then some non-classroom based ELOP questions came up, and it was good just to see everybody and connect with our people that are close to us.
Great, thank you. Jason.
Great conversation. Really appreciative to Mara for sharing her insights. Questions came up again, also like Northern California on non-classroom programs. So that sounds like definitely a thread to follow up on. We're lucky to have Kimberly from CDE on. She shared about the pushing up of the dashboard and the reporting timelines. And then we also had a question about just a clarification around DA and how does DA status overall impact charters in their renewal process.
Thank you, Jason. Deidre Walsh, Southern Authorizers.
Hi. In our breakout rooms, we talked about a couple of different things. So some information or topics around WIOA charter schools, and some recent topics that have come up in that. We talked about, how to look into the finances a little bit deeper, looking at repeat findings in audits. And someone brought up the topic of SB 739 proposing a 2-year extension on renewals. And we thought maybe that's something we can add to the ongoing topics to keep following that if that's possible. And then talked a little bit about the governance training that was hosted last week.
Thank you, Deidre. And finally, Kathy Doherty. Or anyone from the non-authorizing.
There we go. So we talked mostly about the ELOP program, and some concerns came up about who notifies, or how do we get in touch with the oversight folks for the ELOP, concerns about the audit coming up, about how the program itself could cause greater expenditures to the charter schools than they would normally have, and how to handle that and still provide that program, and possible overlaps with the ACES program, and is there a good workaround for that? And really what came out of it, we started talking about some of the possibilities that are happening out there, but it would be great to have another session with more in line with answering those kinds of questions, to give folks a better understanding of the ELOP program and how they can use it.
Okay.
Hey, if I can just piggyback on that real quick, Mifala, we did have a question that maybe people know the answer to here, which is the one that Kathy alluded to on the front end, which is who contacts whom?
Oh.
And do we know what the timeline is? Like this, because some of the schools are wondering, are we awaiting word from the applicable district or county or geographic lead, or is it on the schools to kind of reach out to them, or either is fine? Or anybody know sort of to recap how the process works?
And Tom, may I just ask clarifying, are you in reference to the audit specifically? And when that will take place?
I don't know whether it's specific or just in general to kick the process off.
I think
Got it.
that
Okay, so it's a direct apportionment. So it goes, if you are a designated charter with a CDS code, there is a direct apportionment of dollars. It's formula based. And it operates like a general fund where you're receiving the money directly to you. So we always are encouraging folks to check in with their fiscal directors, making sure that, because that would be a direct apportionment, direct check.
And Zach, was that your question, or was it about differentiated assistance and
differentiated assistance?
Oh, sorry.
about that. Yeah. So it was a really, really good discussion.
Did anyone record the question?
I can ask it if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, go
I
ahead,
was just
Zach.
curious I have a couple schools that do qualify for DA. I've sent out an email just saying, hey, just in case you don't know, you have this available to you. Please go through the avenues to capitalize on this if you can. But I'm just curious, on the back end, or are the counties reaching out to the schools or sending someone or setting up a phone call, or how exactly do we know that this is the funding that's going to the counties is actually being distributed or assisted, not distributed, but assisted to the charter schools that are qualifying for DA? I guess I'm just curious how that process of actually rolling out the services kind of starts.
So we had someone from the Santa Clara County Office of Ed on the call. Yi-Wan, are you still here? Or Tracy Rolfing? Who could share the process that they're using, but I guess they jumped off. Perhaps we can have somebody come back. Or is there anybody else here who's working
Hi.
with DA?
I'm sorry, my camera's off. I'm in transit, but I'm from the San Mateo County Office of Ed. We've got 2 charters and differentiated assistance. And we went ahead and reached out to them to set up the initial meeting, going over their identification criteria. And then we're following up with creating a theory of action sort of supports for the next couple of years for those charters. So I wasn't sure if the CDE actually informed the charter schools about their DA identification or not, but we went ahead and did it from the county.
So from our perspective as a county, the CDE directed us with a letter. So we got a letter that was signed by Tony Thurmond and somebody else. And then we put our county superintendent's name on it and communicated a formal letter from the state. So the state didn't officially reach out to them, but the COEs were directed to do so via a common message document that was put out at California County Superintendent's meeting.
Just feedback over here. We've already had for the one charter we have in DA, we had Kern County as our geo lead, and they already reached out to us and the charter, and we already have a meeting set up. So I would imagine they're in the process of doing that now.
info on in Santa Clara, we met with the GEO lead from Placer County, who's going to be doing DA for our charter schools. Told them a little bit about the charter schools, and then they were going to meet directly with them to talk about DA. Leaving charter schools department out of it. All right, so we're a little over time, but we do have, hopefully you can stick with us. We do have a few more things to share with you. Michelle?
So please fill out the meeting survey, and if you have not finished the annual survey, we got 44 people to finish that one. So finish that one and also do our meeting survey for us. Thank you.
Next slide, please. Tom, I think this is you.
Yeah, so for those who are new to Charter Chats, it's the last Wednesday of the month. So our next one is February 28th. We also we're making available, we're beating the bushes for, if you would like the Cassie show to come to the road to you, let us know. We can do a Charters 101. We can make it something tailored for concerns that are particularly resonant in your area. We've got one scheduled where we're doing combined Tulare and Kings County on March 11th. And there, for example, it's Charter Authorizing 101 with a focus on dependent charters. A lot of districts in the area that maybe only have one dependent charter and are not very plugged into the authorizer side of what they're supposed to be doing. And we're going to kind of give a briefing on that. So if you have a local area and a group of people that would like us to come, we've got the grant funding to do it, and we'd love to come talk to you locally. Next slide. I think this is Michelle, yeah.
And I'll jump in on the second item.
So the CCARC group is on May 10th, has charter school renewals. And so you're more than welcome to join them. And the information is on the our resource page.
And additionally, the CASBO Professional Council for Charter Schools will be offering a webinar on the LCAP and bridging educational outcomes and expenditures, March 13th. The link for registration is on this slide, and you can access it from the slide. And I will drop into our resources for today the flyer for the event. And Tom again.
And yeah, don't forget to be planning for the CCAP conference. We're going to be in Irvine this time. There will be a strong Cassie presence. We will do our pre-conference on 101. Again, we've split that into 2 half days to make it more digestible for people who are new to the field. We have found that we've got a core of people who have come to it more than once because they like the refresher. So spread the word. We'll have a Cassie presence in the main conference too, as we have in past years. And if you have some expertise or insights that you would like to share with your colleagues, we certainly encourage you to submit your own proposal to present. Those are due on March 4th, and the link is there, and it'll be on the resources page.
Next page, and that is all that we have for you. Thank you so much for sticking with us till the end, and we'll see you next month.